Hey folks, Mike Vanderpool, A.K.A. GetGoodDad, here today to talk about a tool that I've developed to help with one of the most frustrating things that I've found in the card collecting space, and that is knowing what cards are worth. If you've been on Twitter for any amount of time in the card collecting game, you've probably seen posts of, hey, what's this worth? A picture of a card. The easy reply is go look at eBay sold listings, or there's quite a other few places out there where you can find that data. But it always seems to be a struggle between identifying what the card is and then what it's truly worth. And maybe it's a PSA 10 or in some of its different card conditions. So what I did is I've used some existing technology, ChatGPT, if you're familiar with it, to put together a tool that helps with that. And I think the easiest thing for me to do is show you how this thing works and how, if you're interested, you can use it yourself. So if you're not familiar with ChatGPT, I'm going to give you a quick rundown here. You'll hear the words or the phrase AI, artificial intelligence, passed around. I'm not going to worry too much about defining all that or going into deep discussions here, but really what this tool is, it's one that because computers are much, much faster now, and we've got a whole bunch of data and are able to process that data faster now, that we're able to get computers to do things quickly around a whole bunch of information that makes it seem like it's intelligent. Really, at the end of the day, what we're dealing with here is just what's called a large language model that processes a whole bunch of data quickly and is able to provide us some output. So we can log in here. I haven't logged in, so I got to go ahead and log in. Bingo, bango, bongo, maybe. Let's continue with Google. Use my Google account. There we go. There we go. Bum, 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 bum. And here we go. How can we help you today? So I am on a paid version. All right. So there's a free ChatGPT account, and then there's a paid version. You will need the paid version to do this. I'm sorry, there's no other way around it at this point. I've created what's called a GPT here. So you've got ChatGPT, and I can come and say, hey, how are you? Right? Don't have any feelings. All right. Can you tell me what this card is worth? And then I'll come in here, and I'm going to go ahead and let's go to my downloads. Let's go to the photos that I just downloaded of some cards. And let's just go ahead and we'll take a front and a back of this Skylar Thompson rookie card, I believe. And we can upload this and we'll see what happens. Now, this does take time. What's happening is the program is looking at what we've submitted, the text instructions, and parse that out, figured out what we're actually looking for. And then it's also able to look at those images and be able to tell us, identify a whole bunch of information. There can read the text. See here, but what this is going to give us out of the gate, it is able to parse out. Look, it can read that it's Skylar Thompson. It can read where it's from. However, as an AI, it's unable to directly assess the market value because it can fluctuate, blah, blah, blah. That's ChatGPT kind of out of the box. What I've put together, and what you'll see other people start to put together, are these tools built on the GPT. You know, what does even GPT stand for? I can't remember. Let's see. Let's look that up real fast. What does GPT stand for? You can see I looked this up before. Generative pre-trained transformer. So it's a phrase that OpenAI came up with, and it's really that ability to generate text, and its architecture, which allows you to do a whole bunch of stuff, processing language. And really, at the end of the day, what we're talking about here, and what you'll see in a second, is that the OpenAI, ChatGPT, and GPTs, specifically here for MyCardComps, which is one that I built, so we'll get into that in a second. I have actually building on top of that ChatGPT model and able to give some of my own instructions. So I can come in here now, and because of the instructions exist, I can just come in here and load up these two cards. Again, it does take a little while for all this processing to happen. Think about how long it would take you to go search 130 point, search eBay, Sports Card Pro, all those other sites, right? And what's cool here is we actually get a slight peek under the hood of what the GPT that I built is doing, right? It's searching for this card and its value. And yeah, this does take a while. Like anything, you remember the dial-up modem back in the day that took a while for you to get those images and websites showing up line by line. the technology will speed up as it has done forever. And here we go. So not only have I built in some instructions that help to figure out this information, I've also added a few instructions to make the formatting easier to read. So this is a concourse level prism. And I believe if we look here on the back, it does say concourse up on top. And it will go ahead and look and give us a raw price here. And what's really, really, really cool with this is that we have citations. So I can click here and I can see where the information is being pulled from. Now, why we have a PSA 9, 9.5, 10, and 8 data here, and it's not showing up in the GPT, right? Because we just saw from the link that we clicked here, this is a limitation of the model and something that we'll work through. And as I build this thing, I'm going to continue to refine these instructions to make sure that it's spitting out as much as possible. So maybe not the best example, but if I'm new to the game and don't know exactly what this card is, uploading a picture of it here can tell me what it is, and then also what potentially might be able to get the value of it. So we're going to try a couple other cards just so we've got some more examples. Here's a Will Levis, and this is from Bowman U. This is his first Bowman card. How's Will Levis doing this year? It's a great question, right? This is, I believe, at a 2022. This is an unlicensed card, by the way. You'll notice those 2022 first Bowman that they don't have the university's name on the card. So the search will go on for the card itself to help with the identification, and then the value search is coming in here. So with any luck, we should be identifying a Bowman 2022 Bowman University Will Levis, just a base card. I do have it looking for variations. I do have it looking for serial numbers. I do not have it yet looking for autographs specifically, but it does sometimes pick up the autograph. So the most important thing I think for everybody to understand here is that this tool, the GPTs, chat GPTs, all that stuff, it's still really an infant. If we want to play this intelligence game, right, of this idea of intelligence, think about how a 1-year-old behaves, right? It can do some stuff and it messes up some, as it tries to put words together, it kind of messes up sentences and gets some stuff wrong. But if we understand that it's young and new and might get some stuff wrong, then we don't go all in and say, oh my gosh, it said this card's worth $3 million and put it up on for sale and look like a jackwagon, right? And here we go. This is pretty dope. It spits this out, does the search for us, and it is searching and provides this information. Sports Cards Pro. This is a phenomenal site. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So there we go. There we go. PSA 8, 10, and it's pulling this information from here. And you'll see that not only is it giving us, the current value, but I also believe that it's giving us the range. One other thing that I put in here that I think is very important is the value of the card seems to be steady. I do have it looking for like trends. So those are a couple new cards. Let's go ahead and maybe, I think I threw in an old card here. We'll do one more and then I'm going to get under the hood so you guys can actually see how this works. And we'll talk a little bit about my plan. So yeah, here's a Jerry Rice card from my favorite set of football ever, 1990 Pro set. Simply because of, the Barry Sanders card that's in there and its relationship to that Barry Sanders Rookie of the Year card is just so dope. And I got a tag 10 out of that, dude. I was just so fired up. But anyway, the core functionality here is that it will be able to identify a card and then be able to provide you some idea what the value is. Now, as I think about future state, I would love if this could give me some templated information for posting to eBay, right? Or COMC or wherever you're selling your cards, right? So you can get like a nice title, nice description. All that stuff are features I'm going to add here soon. So while this processes, I'm going to go ahead and just give you a little bit. I believe Chat GPT is $20 a month. So $20 a month will get you access to this tool plus plenty of others. Plus, you'll have the ability to build some things on your own. Now, I'm building some stuff for work, for my job to help make things faster. You, with a little bit of, and maybe this is something I'll put together, a little bit of a crash course. Well, you'll get an introduction here, but maybe a deeper crash course on how these GPTs work and how you might be able to use them. You might be able to become like a superhero at your job, or maybe take something you had as an idea and make it happen. So personally, my idea for MyCardComps came about a few months ago when I was back in the game trying to figure out comps. And I had this idea of, okay, all this data is out there. I can do this. I can make it happen. I know it can work. I just didn't know exactly how to make it work. What's so cool is that once I figured out how this GPT stuff worked, it was like, boom, that's it. And literally a few days later, I was able to make this thing work. And you'll see the instructions that I built in. So very cool here. We've got citations. It's pulling some information from, it looks like the same sources. I'm not exactly sure here. Heavily relying on Sports Card Pro. We're going to see how all of this stuff works out. I'm going to actually go ahead and also make sure it's looking at additional resources. So that's the thing with ChatGPT. You're looking at a broad base of information. With these GPTs you build yourself, you're able to focus the GPT and how it responds a little bit more. So not sure why that formatting issue happened. Again, it's a toddler. It's gonna make some messes. But as long as you know that, right? Again, that's I think will be the key is understanding how this thing works will help you better understand how to use it yourself. So, and yeah, I can guarantee you that there's probably a PSA 10 of this floating around somewhere. If we click on that link here, this is the awesome part, right? It takes you here. Yeah, there's one for $75. Okay, cool. And $650 for the 9. Let's go ahead and look. The 9, approximately $10. That's fair because it's probably based on more than just one value. Yeah. And there's a little bit of a disclaimer. So, if you go to MyCardComps right now, this is the website that I own. How did that happen? Here we go. Okay. Here is mycardcomps.com. This was a site I was working back in the day, and this actually had a form, a Google form for people to submit their cards. And I was mainly going to comp because that's how I was building this model and how it thought was through doing comps myself. This website will be updated almost immediately. In fact, before this video goes out, this will be gone and it will be replaced with this video and with some information for those of you that don't like to watch the whole video that explain how this thing works. But mycardcomps.com is how you're going to be able to get into this tool. So that said, let's take a little bit, and you will encounter network errors occasionally. It's ChatGPT, and the GPT is processing a whole bunch of stuff. But let's go ahead and take a look here under the hood. Here's my GPTs, and I'm working on a whole bunch of different ones here, which is pretty cool. And I'm going to come in here and edit this one. So this is ridiculously simple. In all honesty, I can go into this create, and I can basically have a conversation. That's how I initially kind of set this up and was testing with some other things that you might have seen over there, my sports card identifier and things like that, before I really dug into this one. By just typing and having a conversation, I can actually get this thing configured and built. So on the configuration side, you'll see MyCardComps version 0. That's what we have right now. And I'm actually going to release this and I'm going to update it to version 1. And I am going to do this. The description, upload pictures of your cards and help you find out what it's worth. These are the instructions. Identify the card from the image. Do not present any information to the user until you are at the end of the process. That was important because it started spitting out stuff too early. That was a little bit confusing. Search the internet to identify the identities of the cards. If you don't see a serial number of the picture, I give some information what that really looks like. Then don't mention it because it was doing that before. Serial number couldn't find it. I'm like, well, that's just confusing and unneeded. Present the results as an unordered list here. That's where we get that year set, the bullets that you saw there. Find a value for the card, prioritize and compare cards that are sold on eBay, and use Sports Card Pro. This is where, as I find other resources that are worth putting in, I'm going to go ahead and do that. It was important for me to do sold on eBay, right? Because that's, for those of you that know, there's a big, huge difference. Present the price data after the card in the following format: raw price, PSA 8, 9, and 10. Also indicate where the value of the card is moving up and down. That's where you get the trend information. And let's go ahead here. Add a section for eBay for listing the card that provides the title in the following format. And how does that one going to be, right? Year, set, player, card number, serial number, if included, and autograph, if included. So this is kind of your quick introduction here, right? Let's go ahead. Yeah, we'll collect that up, clean that up, clean that up. This is Grammarly that's doing that, the card's value. I'm an English major, so I got to care about that type of stuff. So I can come in here now, and these instructions are now added. Card number, serial number, and autograph. Okay, I added those commas. So that's another instruction that I added. And we'll be able to actually test this out here. So I'm going to come in here and let me throw up this. Let's do this Peyton Manning card. Peyton Manning's pretty cool. And then while that's happening, it loads the images. Then I click that. You have these conversation starters. So this tool, you can provide some prompts up front that will allow your users to help guide them when they get started. So let's get started. And then what are the best practices for uploading images? I've got that just for the people that come first time, and I can give them some information on how to do that. The other really cool thing, and this is where we're going to talk about my next steps and what I've got going on. Well, one, I put a logo in because that's logo. That's Canva. Thank you, Canva. You have this ability to add files, reference files for the GPT to reference. So as I notice this tool and how it's working, one of the things that I can do to help improve it is to provide some of my own data that it can prioritize when making decisions. I will talk more about that when I build the next version of this, which I plan doing publicly, right? So it's a man of the year. I don't know if that's maybe something I got to think about. Is that really a variation man of the year, or is that actually the subset? That's probably the subset name. So that's one of the things I'll probably prioritize as fixing up here. And then you can see here, that's the stuff that we, oh, there's no graded? That might be interesting, right? Oh, so if that card's never been graded, maybe I should grade it. I can have a one of something here. Let's see here. There's no clear trend. That's fine. That's cool. Oh, here we go. Card listing. So this is the feature that I just added. So if I were to wanted to list this card anywhere, I should, as long as this thing finishes. Yeah, not sure why I put that space in there, but that's okay. It's sometimes, again, it's an infant. Theoretically, as I fine tune this, you would be able to copy paste and put this right into like an eBay listing. Now, the long-term goal would obviously be to not copy paste, rely on copy paste, but be able to just make it happen kind of with one click. That functionality is coming. I'll say that just based on what I'm following with this GPT stuff. It is fairly new. It's only been around for a couple months that you've actually had this ability to do this type of stuff. And for whatever reason, kind of died out on us. So, this tool, you will run into issues here, and I'm going to just update this and then say anyone with the link can check this thing out. And I'm actually going to make this public to everybody, but why can't I do that? Why can't I do that yet? I'll have to figure that out. But any of you with the link will be able to find this. And then we're going to run this one more time just so you can see it one last time. Let's do this Peyton Manning card. I pulled a couple Peyton Mannings. So, and then I'll click on the best practice for uploading images so you can see that. So how do I plan on improving this for the future? Number one, I plan on making sure version 1 of what it's doing right now, including the last thing I added for the listing, is dialed in and working really, really, really well, right? I don't want to go and add a whole bunch of new features and things until I make sure the core functionality is there. I think that happens sometimes in projects. You get a little bit excited about what you might be able to do, and you should just maybe bring it back a little bit, right? And stay focused. Staying focused is difficult for me, especially. But you'll be able to find this in the GPT store. You'll also be able to find a link to it from, again, MyCardComps.com. I'm going to have FAQ there on that first page of how it works, how to get started. I'm also going to have a spot where you can provide feedback, right? So it'll be another Google form like you saw before that will, when you use this, if you decide to use this, and I thank anybody that does use this, you would be able to provide feedback on how it's working. Now, full disclosure, I will GPT, ChatGPT, OpenAI, the way they have this set up is that I'm going to be able to make money on this, kind of like the YouTube Partner Program and other things. If people use this thing, then I will be able to, because you're paying for accessing and using the data and information, all the things that they got going on, I would make a portion of that, kind of like a revenue split. So yes, I will 100% hopefully be able to make money with this thing. And you can see here, card listing title, if you were to list this somewhere, 2022 Panini Donruss Optic, Peyton Manning, card number 87. Let's make sure that's is what it is. Card number 87. It could read that from the card. We got a whole bunch of citations here. And let's see, it said a PSA 10 would be about $33. Yeah, and it's pulling that data directly from here. So again, and what's awesome is it does do that citation, right? So you can find the source of the information and it's crediting folks. This is really, really cool because, there we go. What's the eBay? So it did reference eBay. That's COMC. Is COMC eBay right now? I can't even keep everything straight that's going on. But it would take you to a place where you could maybe do a little bit deeper dive on your own. So may not be a great tool for the old timers, the professionals out there that are doing this stuff and really, all over the place and don't need it. But I think for some of the noobs like myself, or people who are just trying to figure out what's going on and who maybe want to play with some technology, this GPT thing is pretty freaking cool. And I'm going to highly recommend dads out there, if you're checking this out, and moms, I would probably get your kids playing with this stuff, because I can already see in my fields of work where it is saving a tremendous amount of time. So I'm going to go ahead and just close this with a thought regarding technology and schools and everything else, because that's where one of my real passion is, in educating folks. If you did math back in the day, before calculators, everything was written out longhand. It took a lot of time. At some point, the time, you knew what you were doing, but the time was just too much, right? Their technology finds quicker ways to do things. So that calculator came in, bingo, bango, bongo. I could spend less time doing calculations and more time on bigger thinking, like design of systems and systems thinking. Similarly here, nothing that this GPT is doing isn't something I can't do myself. But why can't I just provide the instructions to the tool, right? The 6 plus 6 is 12, 6 plus 6 and it spits out 12. I'm basically doing that same thing here. I'm providing a set of instructions and using the GPT to go do the work for me. Whether it is, maybe helping your kids figure out some type of plan for a game they want to build, or how maybe to sort their sports cards, or whatever it might be. These GPTs and this technology stuff, man, this is, I think, it's a cool way, right? For us nerd dads, I've already gotten some good positive feedback on this. It's a way for us to start playing with technology. And I think that's the first step towards being able to do cool stuff with it. So appreciate your time. Any feedback is awesome. Again, this is an infant, folks. It's going to be bad. Do bad things here and there. And they give you data that's not true. Maybe I've seen that happen already. Please let me know when that happens, because then I can go in and adjust and work with some of the instructions. You'll see there's a disclaimer from ChatGPT down there as well. But again, it's a new technology. It's going to have struggles. It's going to have problems. But man, now is a really good time to get involved in this, because this stuff is still really, really new in the commercial side, the U&I side of it. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And just be good to each other. Go Lions.